Well, like I told you, we will be taking a look at some of the key developments when it comes to the oil and gas industry. And we are now joined by Stephen Kuria, the Managing Director for Australia Africa Energy and Minerals Institute. Thank you for making time.
Thank you. Thank you, Abdi. Thank you for having me.
Well, just to kick it off, of course, Kenya is at the cusp of starting oil exports come next year. That is according to the government. Perhaps there are some key areas that as a country we are lacking in, especially when it comes to skill sets. Perhaps take us through some of the key issues your company is addressing.
Thank you. Again, that's a very important area. If you actually go back to our education systems and you realize that a lot of our youth are left in a high school, so there's a very high number of dropout. If you look at other countries like Australia, there's what we call pathway to university or to the institute that you want. Mm-hmm. So what we want to address and we are addressing as we speak is two levels. One is how can a guy who is a welder from Gong Road become a pipeline welder for KPC?
Correct.
So that we can stop importing Chinese and Nigerians to come and do the same work. So that's one level. The other level is as Senator Gideon Moy was talking, we are lacking capacity for even our people understanding how is this production sharing. Mm-hmm. Today I had a meeting with from the government auditors, and they also need to know how do we actually audit these resources.
All right.
So those are two areas we are targeting from bottom and up. And we only Kenyan-owned company with international experience. We have been around for 20 years, training Fortune 500 company around the world. Mm-hmm. So we are in position to do so. And most importantly, I think it's the right time. When the industry is down, we have $50, this is the time to build your capacity to your people. So when the industry come up, you're actually better prepared and have a knowledge of the industry.
All right. Yeah. And looking at the forecasts, we're seeing Kenya is eyeing to start the oil exports come next year. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest conversations that is happening is how much Kenya is spending to send people to be trained overseas. Perhaps on average, how much is the spend and what would it take to bridge this gap?
I don't know exactly the spend, but we actually organize the African Oil and Gas Conference in Perth every year, and I know a lot of people come to visit that. Mm-hmm. But the most importantly, like as I say, talking to auditor, they wanted to send the guys in Malaysia to train. So you're looking at accommodation, business class travel, and whatever else comes with it. We are bringing that skills here. We can be able to take the guys in Naivasha or the audience in Naivasha and be able to bring international skills in the country. Mm-hmm. So we'll save in terms of transport, everything else that costs associated with it. And we can train more. We can actually go to Turkana and be able to actually train, in our first training, which we did in September, we actually had people from Turkana County. Okay. Training with us.
All right.
Yeah.
And maybe lastly, Stephen, I'm curious about the outlook for the oil sector, knowing pretty well that oil prices haven't been looking up in terms of the cost per barrel. Now it's about $60. Do you see this going up, or it's a form of stagnation, and what impact will it have to the nascent industry we have?
This is a normal business cycle. In fact, if you go back, possibly look at 10 or 15 years, you'll find we're at that $50 a barrel. So the industry will come back up. The good question is, are we prepared? Last 5 years I've been coming back to Kenya from Australia. We have been hearing these issues. We don't have people understanding the industry. And that's why we're saying we cannot achieve our vision 2030 if we don't have human capacity to drive the industry when it's back up. So it will be back up. Okay. We'll possibly be paying $100 a barrel. I'm not an economist, but I know you'll come back. Mm-hmm. So we better be prepared for the country, as a Kenyan, passionate about that, so that we are not bringing drillers or geologists or from overseas and the welders, so we actually have a capacity to do so.
Okay, I can't let you go, Stephen, before asking you, what's your hunch about Kenya's early oil? Do we have the right infrastructure in place? Do you feel it's going to take off as envisaged?
If I go back from finance perspective, I think the CS have clearly said it's not a revenue generating
All right.
project. So for that, if we take that aside, then we can talk about if we are constructing a road from Rocky Chair to Eldoret, is it a good thing for the country? I think that it is. So if we look at that aspect, then it's a good thing. As I said earlier in another conference, is that we're also doing the dry run, meaning that we practice, but we can't hinge it on a revenue generation apart from that.
Fantastic.
So I can't really say whether financially will make sense in the end. Yeah.
It's a question of wait and see.
It's wait and see. It has happened in other countries before.
All right.
Not at this price.
Okay, thank you.
Not at this price, yeah.
Thank you very much there. We are speaking to Stephen Kuria, the MD, Australia, Africa Energy and Minerals Institute. Thank you, sir, for coming. Thank you. Well,